Welcome to the Daily Whatever Show. I'm Lawrence Winterman.
I'm Dana Dubois.
That's my best
And
friend.
that's my best friend. And this is Van's best friend.
Aw, puppy.
Yeah, I didn't
Good
even
morning,
miss.
Kira.
She says hi. She's a little confused because she's like, this is when I usually come beg for a treat. I'm not usually being held. And yet, oh, this is nice. She's going to be our emotional support animal throughout the show today. Um, yeah,
We
Lawrence.
probably need it because we are both tired as hell. I think I did 6 lives yesterday.
If you count the one you produced, I
Yeah,
believe.
I mean, I'm counting that one.
Was it fun? Did I miss? Wait, so I know I did 3 lives. 4 if you count the hot second I
Okay,
got
then I
tonight.
did 5. Yes,
Okay.
because I was on last night with Rick Herbst and Lisa. We Are the Third Estate. It was a great show. We had a ton of fun, and then Frederick and I did a live late last night. Late for me,
Yes. Yes,
because
you did.
you know this, Dana. I mean, the news broke yesterday that they're tearing down the entire east wing of the White House,
Yes.
not just the facade, not just like the portico. And I think my brain broke. I was so angry. I,
Yeah.
we
With good
should
reason.
we should expect, that this, you know, administration is going to make us infuriated every day at this point, I suppose. But that really, really made me sort of insane. Like I was
I know.
so,
Kira wants these for you. She's like, he's hurting. He's hurting.
aw.
I can't kiss Lawrence, so I'm gonna kiss you.
Oh,
Um,
she hears the anger in my voice, and I'm
I
sure it's
think
stressing
she
her out.
does.
Sorry,
No, it's
sorry,
good.
Kira.
It's okay to be angry. It's something you should be we're all angry about. I think it hit you especially hard. Um, uh, but yeah, I'm fucking indignant about it too. So I loved seeing you guys live, and I was like, wait a minute. We were joking at the top of the hour yesterday of like how we were both going to be on 3 times, and I messed up because 2 of ours were together. And then I saw you on with Rick and Lisa and was like, hey, girl, hey, I didn't know about this one. And you were like, yeah, I forgot that one. And then again with Frederick, I'm like, Lawrence, what are you doing? So it was a really long, amazing day of podcasting yesterday. Um, yeah, I'm going through the whole thing. We did our daily whatever show with Egberto, amazing.
Super great.
And then we went right on with Marlon Weems, also like that
Amazing.
passed in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, and then I joined Cliff Schechter and Dave Schuster for Amped Up, Blue Amp Media's show a couple hours after that, and you produced the show.
Yep.
Um, that was a really cool experience, Lawrence. I loved talking to those guys. And it was kind of wild being a guest, not through Substack, through a tool, so that it was streaming on multiple platforms. But I wasn't watching any of the comments. And my face was much smaller than it is now. So it felt very like kind of in a void, but it kept me focused, I think. So it was great. They were so interesting to talk to. And it had that amazing graphic of us like taking on pedophile Mount Rushmore with all of the
Yeah.
pedo heads on it. That was very cool. And then I got to watch you with Rick and Lisa, and then with Frederick Pogue to end the
Yeah.
day. What a day!
Yeah. It was, it was a lot. And I think you and I said at multiple points to multiple people, like, we didn't really get into this to necessarily do like an all politics kind of show.
No.
And the Daily Whatever show isn't supposed to be all politics. We don't want it to be all politics, but
Yep.
we are drowning in politics right now. Like culture is
Yes.
politics, politics is culture. And, yeah, like we can't not talk about it, especially when
No.
crazy shit happens on a daily basis. Which is a good segue to say we have an amazing guest today. Our good friend Melissa Corrigan is going to be joining us, and she's in the chat, standing by. Melissa
I'm in
is
the chat now. Hi, all.
Melissa's in Norfolk, Virginia, and where she is both investigating a case about flock camera usage in her hometown and also this happens to be coincidentally where the Letitia James trial is happening. And I
Yes.
know, part of our hope here was that maybe Melissa could get into the courthouse for the Letitia James trial. I don't know yet if she's there, but I think we should go ahead and pull her on and
Bring her on.
see if she is.
Yes,
All right.
Nick is saying Melissa is in the house, one of the best. She's the reason I found this amazing place, and I love that. Connecting people.
Melissa,
Good
Melissa,
morning.
good
good-
morning.
Yeah, I'm at home today. Her arraignment is tomorrow.
Got it. Got it.
so it is the pre-trial goodness. Do you
Yes.
think you'll be able to get in?
Tomorrow, I don't think so because it's only the arraignment. They said it's not going to be very long anyway. Essentially, all the parties are going to gather in the room, sign some papers, and that's really it. But Monday, I want to be in the room on Monday. Yes,
In the
I'm
room where
planning
it
to go
happened.
sit in the room and watch Letitia James and her talented crew wipe the fucking floor with this case.
So that's what you do. Or how convicted do you feel that that's how it's going to go down? Because I am
100%.
100%. Okay,
100%.
I take huge comfort in that. Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. Because I'm a worrier, and I worry about the power of this administration. Hang on, I got to rearrange a little bit here, Kira. Kira says hi. She's our emotional support animal today.
Oh, hello, Kira.
Yeah, I'll open the window.
She's been very needy lately. She knows. She knows what's up.
She has. And I've been home all week because if I open that, are you going to bark? Probably. It's too dark outside to have the window open. It just freaks me out that people can see in and I can't see them. 20 minutes or so we'll have light here in Seattle. Yeah, I worry. And I worry, I mean, obviously the oversteps this administration is taking are immense. And I'm like, are they going to put this woman in prison just to be dicks? Sorry.
I mean, I think we know that they would if they could, right? Like if
Yes. Will
they'd
they
put
succeed?
anybody in prison just to be dicks if they could get away with it.
Yes.
Yes. He's trying his absolute best. This is the third, technically fourth prosecutor. There's another woman that no one has really been talking about. Eric Siebert, of course, refused to hear the case and then resigned as a matter of it. And then Elizabeth Yusey, who's an incredibly talented prosecutor that we had here in Norfolk. She's heard RICO cases. She's heard massive level embezzlement cases. He chucked her. But she was also working with another attorney named Kristen Bird. And Kristen Bird has also been fired because she also refused to bring forth an indictment with the evidence that they have. So I can jump on in if you want. But first, because I already saw somebody
Bring it.
Yeah.
I already saw somebody asked who this is. We are talking about Letitia James, and I want to give a little bit of background because a lot of people aren't aware of who Letitia James is. She is the New York Attorney General. Before that, she was the public advocate for New York City. In 2013, this staggered my husband. He's from New York. In 2013, she got that job, the public advocate for New York City, and she was the first woman of color to hold a citywide office in New York City in
Oh my God.
2013.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And before that, she began her career as a public defender for the Legal Aid Society. So let's toast this Girl Scout, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Right.
Hold on. Cheers.
Yes, her
Right.
career is, I love my mug. Keegan got it for me for Christmas.
What does it say there?
Be fierce. Yes.
Be fierce.
Oh, I love it.
It's amazing.
My mug
So,
too,
yes.
because Lawrence made it.
To Letitia James, I'm rocking my Eagle Jizz mug.
Yes. So we can all just take a moment to recognize that I think part of the issue that Donald Trump has with this woman, just like he does with Barack Obama, is he has a real fucking core problem with Black excellence. He cannot stand to see an excellent Black person. Like, he just cannot stand it. Barack Obama is an outstanding example of Black excellence, and so is Letitia James.
Yeah.
Her career has been profound. It's been record-setting. It's, and her commitment to the people is remarkable. So when you get into this case, you start seeing just how much that is reflected in her personal life. So to go back, to catch everybody up, on September 20th, Trump ordered Pam Bondi, if everybody remembers, in a very public social media post, he ordered Pam Bondi to go after and prosecute James Comey, Adam Schiff, and Letitia James. And so
completely
they began,
normal for a president to do. Can we just say that?
Totally.
Super.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Completely normal. Don't panic.
Yeah. So she began moving towards that end and pushing those orders down the chain of command, as it were. And all of the prosecuting attorneys took a look at the evidence as the president requested in this social media post. And they found that there was not sufficient evidence for the charge that he wanted. So they declined. Of course, Eric Siebert first declines, and then Elizabeth UC with Kristen Bird. And so Donald Trump taps this junior attorney, one of his personal attorneys, who is not a prosecutor.
Right. Or particularly good.
Or particularly good. So he assigns Lindsay Halligan as the interim U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. And another interesting note is that there was already an interim U.S. attorney. I can't even remember her name because she was literally in office after Eric Siebert resigned for like a week. And they were like, no, go away. We want Legally Blonde in here.
Oh my God.
I was gonna say, like, Lindsay Halligan's biggest, qualification is that she's blonde and
That she's blonde.
pretty.
And I really even hate saying Legally Blonde because that's discrediting Legally Blonde, honestly.
Right. Seriously, like,
I love that movie.
Reese Witherspoon absolutely killed it in that movie. And
Right.
the main, what was her character? Elle Woods was absolutely fantastic. So,
Right.
she doesn't deserve Legally Blonde.
No. So Halligan brought the indictment on October 9th for 2 counts of bank fraud and false statements to a financial institution. So the crux of the case, and I went digging and found the actual house and everything. So in 2020, Letitia James bought a house in Norfolk, and as soon as I saw the address of the house, I was like, oh, okay, it's in a low income area. And the price she paid for this house, a 3-bedroom house in 2020, was $137,000. So we are not talking about some gated mansion on a hill for the house that she purchased. It is a incredibly moderately priced house, particularly for Norfolk in that year, because my husband and I had just moved up here and we're looking at real estate prices. So that is an extremely low price for a house. So it was an extremely modest purchase. And she's being accused of renting it out, using it as a rental, which would go against the terms of the mortgage. But that's not what she did. She put her great niece with her 3 children into that house. That's what she did. They don't pay rent. She pays the mortgage on the house.
So basically, Letitia James is a fucking hero who cares for her family and what is helping her family in the way that any good person would.
In the way that white families have done since mortgages have been invented. I can count off the top of my head 4 or 5 friends my age that are in the house they're in now because their parents bought it for them. This is how white people pass generational wealth. And I do think that's part of what bugs Donald Trump about her and this case, is because she is taking a white trick and she's using it to purchase a home for her family. And that's a thing that white people do. So we need to be, if a Black person does it, we need to come down on them and go through the minutia of the case, when I tell you what, if I called whoever this investigator is on 4 or 5 of my friends right now, they'd be getting booted out of their houses because their parents got a mortgage for their home, said it was a second residence, and it counts as a second residence because they come and stay with their family at Christmas. They spend the night in the house, therefore that is a second residence. So this is something that white people have been doing ad nauseum.
Can I just
for
say,
decades.
as a white person, sometimes I really fucking hate white people. Like, we suck. The patriarchy and like systemic racism. Jesus fucking Christ. I am so ready for this
Yes.
to be a majority minority country. I can't fucking stand like the absolute shitmongering that white people do at the expense of everybody else all the fucking time.
Right. And she even filed with the mortgage documents. She was even transparent enough to file a power of attorney document with the great niece's name on it. So if there's anything that needs to be discussed with the mortgage, if they need to talk about the property, they can talk with that person. So I'm not sure how she could have been even more transparent about the scenario that was going on. They have tried to say that she claimed rental income on this property. She did not. She owns investment properties in Brooklyn, New York, and that is what she was claiming on. So there's just absolutely no basis for this fact. And then further, if we are to follow the hypothetical scenario that she that it is fraudulent, and we look at the actual claim amount that she would be responsible for. So the number that's been flying around is 18,000 over the life of the loan. 18,000 is what she would have defrauded over the life of the loan. And in actuality, the only court judgment can be what's on currently paid. She has not gotten benefit from the remaining 25 years on a 30-year mortgage. She's owned the house for 5 years. The amount of monetary damages is $1,200.18.
Oh my God, I'm fucking broke as shit, but let me GoFundMe $1,200 and pay this off and let's be done with it, right?
They are bringing a federal case against a sitting attorney general over 1,200 American dollars.
Sounds about right. Because why not do that, but also tear down the entire east wing of the White House and build a $250 million ballroom?
Right.
Why don't you get
right. I got a letter
with that accent? I hear it. I
Yeah,
hear
I
it coming
mean,
in.
I got a letter from my city yesterday because there's been a bundle of sticks that the landscaper left by the side of the curb for too long, and I need to remove the bundle of sticks. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They tore down the east wing of the White House. Fuck you and your sticks.
yeah,
Get out of
seriously.
here.
Yeah,
Are you
do you
kidding
need
me?
these sticks to go rebuild to build the ballroom? I can contribute. Here you go. Here's some sticks.
Here's some lumber for. Oh my
Right.
God. But the greater implications here. So let's switch over because the the Eastern District Court in Norfolk hears quite a bit of substantial cases. We hear a lot of RICO cases. There's a lot of massive extortion because this court is in Virginia, but a little bit distance from DC. So you get a little bit of political distance when people want that. So, so we hear some pretty remarkable and impactful cases. Like I was referring to, Elizabeth Usey, the prior attorney general, has won RICO cases against drug cartels in this court, and she was a tremendous resource for our federal justice system, and she was just fired. But when we look at another case that's being heard here, the flop case. So this case was laying very, very low until about a month ago. So to
Hey,
citizens.
Melissa, before you get on this roll, I just want to interject. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I think Yanni might be winning the chat so far because what he said is, Melissa, just reply to the city, your mom. It works for KKK Caroline.
I should write your mom on it and mail it back.
And now I'm forgetting exactly. Fuck your sticks.
Yeah.
Fuck you and your sticks.
Fuck you and your sticks. I kind of want
you
a
guys can
t-shirt
hear my rooster yelling about it. Everyone's upset.
Right.
Yeah, I want like a mug or a t-shirt that says "fuck you and your sticks." Like, no one will get it, maybe because they
Right.
Yeah.
So for the people who are here, but there's still something really satisfying about it. Fuck you and your sticks. It's phonemically really nice.
Forget it.
You are on a roll, Melissa. Like, we're moving slow. At least I am moving slowly this morning, and I'm just like, wow, wow, wow. Before you shift, Is that the flock case huge?
Yes.
I'm realizing, like, we never had you introduce yourself. It's because you feel like family now.
I did just jump in.
Yeah. So everyone who doesn't know Melissa Corrigan, meet Melissa Corrigan. You are doing extraordinary investigative work. Like, I want to say it out loud here that, like, you've always been an incredible writer and a really brainy writer, but you are, like, diving in at a level that is incredible, and that is something that Lawrence and I have contemplated before on the show of, like, if the real journalism is all moving to Substack, what's going to happen to the deep investigative journalism that, like, the majors have been funding all these years? And, like, you and Ellie Leonard are the first two I'm seeing, and I'm sure there are others, just not directly in my line of sight, that I'm like, holy shit, you are doing the work. And that's all caps as I'm saying it. So thank you. If you are not already supporting Melissa Corrigan, please go subscribe. If you can afford to become a paid subscriber, become a founding member. Like, Melissa is someone who is, like, really, really taking on interesting work, and work that I think is getting missed, right?
I think,
Especially
yeah,
this slot case. I only know
my
about it because
son
of you.
my son said to me last night, because he's almost 21 and it's sort of cool having an adult kid that can talk to you on an adult level.
Right?
But he was old enough to understand. So I went to college with the three kids when I was in my late 20s, and I was a pre-law major and my minor was journalism. So
Yeah.
all of this is just under and my plan was to go to law school. I had applied to CUNY Law in New York. I was accepted. I was ready to go. And and then I made the decision to leave an abusive husband, and obviously that life path was not exactly something I could pursue at that time as a single mom of three kids. So I, um, my son said to me last night, he said, it's weird that it has to happen like this, but you are kind of living the career that you always wanted, and I would agree with that. I would still love to be able to go to law school one day, and specifically CUNY Law. I love their mission. They are the most affordable law school in the country. They have maintained the lowest tuition, and they crank out the most public service attorneys
Yeah.
that truly help people. So one day, maybe, maybe one day, if our democracy holds, I'll be
I
able
know.
to go back to law school.
God,
That's
I hope
amazing.
so.
And I'm sure you're seeing this. I hope you're seeing this. Everyone in the chat is absolutely giving you all the props and acknowledging that, you're doing the work. You're walking the walk and doing the investigative journalism and writing the stories that we need right now. So, as Dana
I
said,
think it's
thank you.
also my way of staying sane. Like I have to I think that's my little bit of the tism, is that I have to know what's going on so I can cope with it. I have
Okay,
to
my
know.
bit of the might be
Yeah.
also another new T-shirt. We're just gonna
Yeah.
launch a Melissa Corrigan line. All proceeds
Yes.
will go to support Melissa's work.
I'm
Yes.
serious,
Fuck
Lawrence.
you and your
Please build
fucking
that.
sticks is the first one, and that's my bit of the is the second one.
Yes. Cuz
Oh
this
my
There's
helps
our
me
God.
merch
keep
ideas.
I feel like I'm very unmoored when I don't know what's going on. I am in absolute awe of people who aren't watching the news right now and aren't keeping up with things and are just floating through life.
Right?
I'm mystified by people like how are you functioning? I need to know. I need to know. And so I figure if I'm doing all this crazy research and deep diving, then I'm going to share it with other people, because everybody needs to be as freaked out as I am about the stuff that I'm reading and uncovering. Yeah, so that way I'm going to segue to the flock case there, because
Nice.
I share my information with my local next door group, because this is our city. This is where it's going down. And the initial response to these cameras from a lot, especially a lot of like stodgy old white men, was, I don't care. They can record all they want. If you're not committing a crime, what does it matter?
Right.
So I had to keep educating, and like, well, they are actually tracking your data, and they're selling your data to outside companies, not just law enforcement. So educating people and letting them know, hey, this is something you really might want to look into so that you can start calling our Congressman Bobby Scott and he can get to know you by name, because you will also be alerting him that you are not okay with a mass surveillance network being set up in your town. So, and I've actually made a little bit of headway on Nextdoor, which is surprising to me, but there have been people that did not realize the full scope of what Flock does. And the most recent ruling in this case was a real gut punch to the case. So this case was filed last year.
Yep.
2 citizens of Norfolk sued the city. And so Flock tried to intervene in the case several months later and become a co-defendant, which the ruling, the judge's ruling on that was the most beautiful legal prose, to be like, the fuck are you doing? Why would you bring yourself on as a co-defendant? Why would you? Wait,
No,
his
doesn't make
prose was
sense.
the most beautiful way of being like, you are so stupid. Why? I've never seen anybody want to be a defendant and introduce themselves in a case as a defendant. And of course, it's because they've got the corporate attorneys and the money and all that. But his response to that was beautiful. But he denied them. He was like, actually, no, you are a vendor.
yeah,
And the very fact that you want to have impact on this case past the status of a vendor is extremely telling,
yeah.
right?
Can we, Melissa, for the people who might not know, can we kind of give context? So describe what Flock is and kind of how
Yes.
it connects to Palantir and sort of the
Oh,
panopticon,
yeah.
all that shit.
So Flock Safety is a little bitty company out of Atlanta that hatched out of an incubator that Peter Thiel was a part of. Peter Thiel really, really liked Flock. And in fact, there were some improprieties in the incubator in his conversations with Flock that caused him to be kicked out of the incubator. So Peter Thiel has had his eye on this company for a long time, since their inception. And I say a long time, this is a baby company. This was like 2021. They are an extremely new company and they have grown extremely rapidly. So they have cameras that are black solar powered cameras that are license plate readers, automated license plate readers, which isn't entirely a new thing in law enforcement. The new thing that Flock does is their Nova dashboard, where any law enforcement can access that dashboard and trace people by their license plate movements, which they have already alleged in court that they do not do. And that has been disproven through discovery materials where they were, in fact, tracking the plaintiffs of this case.
Right.
So,
Is it called Nova because that's just the brand name or because it's specific to Northern Virginia? I just,
no, that's just the brand name.
okay, got
Right.
it, got it.
And the scary thing about the Nova dashboard is the interconnectedness with other companies. So it connects to databases that aren't just Flock owned. Any company that has security cameras can plug into this dashboard. And they are now developing capabilities to plug in your social media profiles. What does your social media profile have to do with your license plate?
Because it gets your face.
So they're
Imagine every Ring
saying,
camera. Imagine the Ring
right.
camera network getting
And
plugged into
then,
this.
yes. And then last week, Ring Camera officially incorporated into the Nova dashboard. So now any law enforcement officer or any entity who pays for the data, any corporation that pays for the data can now access that dashboard and they can use personal Ring cameras on people's front door, feed into this Nova dashboard now. So
Right.
you are looking at a real web of surveillance from people's front doors. They put Flock cameras on FedEx trucks. So if they are out in traffic or they pull up to your property, even if you don't have Flock cameras in your neighborhood, you now have FedEx trucks coming in your neighborhood and performing that service of license plate reading. They don't just capture the license plate, they also capture identifying information about the vehicle and take note of bumps, dings, paint scratches, anything like. So they develop a profile of the vehicle that's not just a license plate reader. So this is where you're talking about a massive differentiation between the old license plate readers that were used by like Easy Pass for tolls, or some law enforcement were using them. And the other issue here, and this is where I'm going to start, what my real big concern is how rapidly the rule of law is crumbling. Because in Texas, a
Oh my
woman
God.
traveled from Texas to a neighboring state to obtain an abortion and went back home. Her law enforcement from Texas tracked her movements over 83,000 flock cameras to track her from Texas into the neighboring state to the abortion clinic and back home. And when she returned home, she was arrested and indicted for homicide.
I okay. If this doesn't fucking get us to general strike or a multi-day, multi-week no king, like, come on, people. This is the panopticon. If you think you are escaping this country at this point, you're not. You could buy your plane ticket in cash, but they're going to track you on the way to the airport. Like,
Right.
when the time comes, we are all fucking doomed. Like, they are
Yes.
implementing a surveillance system that is absolutely next level sci-fi panopticon. They will be able to track us doing everything, you
Right.
know?
And,
And then
and
they're going
that's
to
what I'm
add
telling
machine learning and
people.
AI on top of that. And they're going to be like, you know how already Siri is like, oh, it looks like you're going to the Kroger's. Like
Yeah.
it's 5:30 p.m. You
6:14.
must be going to Kroger's, which is what you do, most
Yeah.
Tuesday afternoons at this time. They're going to layer that in too, right? And so they'll be
Yes.
able to detect, like, oh, he's not going to the gym when he normally goes to the gym. It looks like he's making a break for it and going to the airport. Get him.
Like, I don't know if anybody's seen Minority Report, but they literally are already discussing going to arrest people pre-crime.
Yeah.
How do you arrest someone
What does
pre-crime?
that mean?
It
Melissa, I
means
don't,
that they are aggregating that data, like Lawrence just said, aggregating the data to make a informed presumption that you are about to go commit a crime.
sure. I mean, if I go to Michael's to buy poster board and then go pick up my mom right before the next No Kings rally, clearly I'm participating in domestic terrorism because I'm going to go protest in public. And sure, they could arrest me
Right.
because, all protesters are domestic terrorists, right? So,
Right. Yeah. So that's, the flock camera case. So the development was unfortunate in that a lower court ruling has ruled that these cameras are not a violation of the Fourth Amendment, which was a huge pillar of the case. So at this
Now, how
point,
is that possible that it's not I know if,
they say that when you're on the road in your car, you do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy. And further, they're beginning to argue that if you are outside at all, if you are in your front yard, backyard, if you are outside of your dwelling, you do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy, because Flock is also starting to launch drones.
oh, of course they are. Of course they are. It's interesting. We regular people don't have any expectation of privacy now, but does this apply, I wonder, to Congress people or Supreme Court justices or anyone else? Could we track, I don't know, just for example, Clarence Thomas's movements to see when he's going to take his next, multi-million dollar trip bribe from somebody?
Right. There's already been some cities, because people are really freaking out as they learn more. And there's been several cities, most notably, oh, did I write it down? Denver is one, a city in Florida, a city in Texas, a city in Illinois. The city in Illinois has been successful. The people went to the city and said, absolutely not, take them down. We didn't vote on this. You did this without our permission. And they have taken them down. And so 5 cities now have reversed course on the flock cameras. And what's starting to happen is very disturbing. One of the cities, I want to say the Evanston, Illinois, I want to say that's it.
Northwestern, that's where Northwestern is.
I believe it was Evanston. I'll have to go back and confirm. But Evanston, said, we don't want the cameras, take them down. They contacted Flock and said, we're canceling our contract. Flock fought them and did not want to take the cameras down. So some of the city's workers began putting bags over the cameras.
Nice.
And so then they're going back and forth with Flock, like, okay, if you don't take them down, we're going to take them down. And Flock was like, if you touch our cameras, we're going to sue you. That's our property, blah, blah, blah. So they're going back and forth. And then they catch Flock employees taking the bags off. So the citizens have spoken and said, we don't want you monitoring us. They have spoken through their form of government. They went to their government. Their government said, okay, heard, we're canceling the contract. Why is Flock, a vendor, removing the bags placed by the elected representatives of the people? Further, so they said, we're going to get our law enforcement involved. If we catch you messing with the cameras again, the city said, our people have said we want them down. Take them down. What Flock has done is purchase or lease commercial space still within that city where they are putting the camera on their property.
Oh my God.
Like, why do you want you are a vendor. You keep telling people in court, you're just a vendor. You just sell cameras. What people do with them is out of our hands. We don't have any control. They want to escape all culpability when it comes to the use of these. Like the guy in Alabama, I think the law enforcement officer who used those cameras to stalk his ex-girlfriend or ex-wife. So they want to escape all culpability when rogue agents use those cameras,
Right.
nefariously.
Yeah.
But then when the cities want them taken down, you're fighting them and you are putting up your own cameras on private Why? Why are you
Right.
doing that?
Right. Because
If you're
the
neutral.
CIA and the FBI really, really, really want those cameras out there. I don't know if you saw, Beth Cruz just put a link
Yeah.
into a story about in Pierce County in Washington State. Apparently, Border Patrol accessed the data from 63 of the Flock cameras through a back door that basically allowed them to make some moves against. Uh, it looks like immigration action was taken using that information.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They openly, so Home Depot is one of the private companies that contracts with Flock. So how do you think all those ICE agents showed up to all the Home Depot stores at 6
Oh
a.m. to
shit!
pick up migrant workers? And do you know what Home Depot's doing now? Home Depot, now that they have provided the information to get every one of those migrant workers picked up, they are now so graciously offering a free skills training program, a skills training program.
Is that a way of
And they're
tricking
advertising it, right? They're
people
advertising
in?
it like very heavily to the homeschool community. So kids that have been homeschooled in extremely usually Christian nationalist homes. So Home Depot gets rid of all the migrant workers, but then they tell the 16-year-old kids that are homeschooling in Christian nationalist homes, just come to Home Depot and we will train you for free in these skills.
Uh-huh.
Is that are those mama bears training their kids at home and schooling their kids at home so that they will be unskilled laborers sitting out waiting for people to pick them up to do the work that immigrants were doing? I don't think so. I don't think
No,
that's a
but the
wonderful
trades
replacement.
are heavily pushed in homeschool. Like
Okay.
the
I mean,
trades are, going to college is seen as this liberal. You'll get brainwashed.
Right.
If you go to college, you'll be exposed to such a big thing of that type of homeschooling environment, because I lived in it, was total control and being cut off from the outside world. The Duggars, their wealth came from a construction company, and when their boys would come of age, they would teach them construction. So this is actually pretty in theme with the Christian nationalist homeschool sort of pipeline. Yeah, they don't want them going to college, because if they go to college, they'll learn about history and the world and stuff, and then they won't follow in their parents' footsteps in this very narrow Christian nationalist lifestyle. So they don't want them going to college.
And there's that sense of like strong man build house. the world moves because men are building the things. I'm just thinking of not entirely, but an awful lot of the immigrant population, at least out here, is very low cost, no contract. Like you literally pick them up to day labor, right? They're sitting outside the Home Depot and you say like, hey, can you come do this for the day? And they do it. Not like becoming a general contractor or having like a stable career and a shingle to put out. So
Yeah,
the
that's what
costs are
people were
different.
that's what people were saying, is that the courses that Home Depot is offering is like, courses on carpentry, courses on plumbing, courses on electricity. Like, but why would you not? They need certifications. You could train them to do those things, but they can't go out and empower themselves to make actual livable wages unless they have a certification in that trade. So it does feel like Home Depot is just trying to replace people who are trained but not certified, so they can't command a lot of money.
I see. But maybe it's in the teenage years, the very young years that they're like, you start doing this. And then if you are let's face it, white family with any kind of means, you'll go on to get the training because you'll have the means to.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that checks. Okay.
So, Melissa, we kind of touched on this a little bit already, and I'm really dying to hear your thoughts. At the beginning, Dana and I were talking about, like, I went a little insane yesterday when the news broke that they're not just tearing down the facade of the East
I
Wing,
did
they're
too.
tearing down the entire East Wing.
I did too.
What the actual fuck? Like, spill, vent.
I mean, I think I've told you guys before, I've gone to DC every year or every other year since I was 6 years old. One of the few positive things my adopters gave me was my male adopter was a history professor before he was a pastor. So we went to DC like every year and went to the Smithsonian's and we did tours of the White House, tours of the Capitol, all of it. And it really showed me what it meant to be a citizen of this country. It showed me where our birth was as a country. And from that, I could get framework on where we needed to go. And then with my kids, I homeschooled them for a couple years when they were in elementary school, and we traveled a lot and we went to civil rights. They have stood at Selma. They have stood on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel. They have been there. They put their feet there because I believe that is truly how you learn history and how you learn
Melissa.
your place in the world that you're in, is to put your feet there. And I wrote an article about it that said, white parents make your kids uncomfortable. That's the title of it. And it's not to shame. My kids are not ashamed of being white. They don't feel bad about being white, but they are informed and centered as to their place in this moment in American history and what that means for their behavior as white people. Um, and so to see the East Wing ripped off with no formal process, no permission sought or granted,
Right.
it was really such a clear demonstration of what he is doing to the country and what he intends to do to the country, which is, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. I'm going to destroy whatever the fuck I want, and no one can stop me. And it's absolutely astonishing that no one did stop him, that there was no lawyer, no historian, nothing in that moment that could step up. I mean, if it were, and it's just a building, it's, and I have to keep bringing, it's just a building. But to me, like if I had been in DC, it might have been a Tiananmen Square moment. I might have stood in front of a bulldozer, because what do you mean? It's such a sign to us. I don't think he could take a bullhorn louder and yell in our face what he thinks of us and what he thinks of this nation and the history of this nation, because his parents never took him to Selma and never took him to Lorraine Motel and made him stand there and made him realize who he is in the grand scheme of this country. Because you're fucking nobody, Donald Trump. You're a sad, pathetic excuse for a man, for a father, for a leader, for a husband. nothing you do is morally sound. Nothing. You made your life ripping people off, damaging stuff. The wake of destruction in this man's life, it cannot be overstated. Cannot be overstated.
Yeah.
So
And
I want to read a line. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lawrence.
I think maybe we were about to do. So Stephanie, our friend Stephanie Wilson, Stephanie, Melissa, said it's not just a building, right? And that's like the cognitive dissonance, because I hear your point. Okay, yeah, it is just a building in the scheme of things, but it is also so much more in terms of what it embodies and what it represents.
right.
And is it a child starving because there are no SNAP benefits? No. But also it is such the obvious and perfect metaphor, like you just said, for what he is doing to our country. It is like it will go down in history as a let them eat cake moment, right?
Yes.
It isn't as pithy as let them eat cake, but basically knocking down the fucking White House, the East Wing of the White House. It will go down in history, to build a gilded ballroom, for fuck's sake.
And one thing I will say is that though his supporters' excuses and justifications are getting flimsier and flimsier by the day. I had someone drop a comment when I posted something about it yesterday, and they said, well, who better to renovate the White House than a real estate developer whose business? And I said, that's not the point. Nobody asked him to, and he did not seek permission to, and it's not his property.
House. Yeah.
Right.
It's not his property to do that to. So if I decide my neighbor's extension on their house is ugly, which it is, can I just go over and knock it off?
Right. And use their money to do it? Because he's using our taxpayer dollars to fund this, right? This is...
Yes. And then further, suing the Department of Justice in this backdoor way where there doesn't require a trial and it doesn't require a process. So essentially, he's just sued the Department of Justice to cut himself a check for $230 million so he can turn around and say, I paid for... And if anybody believes that 230 is going to go to that ballroom, that's not like Mexico paid for the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Fred and I said this last night, right? The price is just going to keep going up because they got to skim at least 25% off the top of it.
Right. And with tariffs, what are building materials going to cost?
There's a few quotes I want to read, and I think you're going to really love this one from Jason Odell. I saw a post this morning that said Trump finally did what bin Laden could not.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? the fourth plane that was supposed to be headed for the White House.
Yeah.
The fourth plane. He did that. And there's, I think it was Kat who said this earlier, of how I can't find the quote, but it was like it's exposed to the elements, like the mold risk here and the...
Well, I mean, if you're tearing down the entire East Wing, you don't. It's just the demolition phase, right? They're literally going to throw the entire East Wing into a fucking dumpster as trash and haul it away. And then they're going to salt the earth before they build the fucking ballroom.
Right. And then sending out, and if you think what you're doing is right and just and okay, why do you send a massive email out to the federal building whose side faces the White House and instruct them not to take photographs and share photographs of that destruction if what you're doing is totally fine?
Right. Yeah, it was a leak. We found out about it because those pictures got taken from the Treasury building or whatever, and it was a leak, right? They were furious. Somehow they didn't want people to know, and I still can't grok how you could expect nobody to see or notice.
Well, they've erected a 10-foot black fence around the entire perimeter of the White House. So if they were simply relying on foot traffic, then people may not have been aware of the entire scope of what was being destroyed without some sort of aerial footage.
Yeah. Karen has said, Karen Marie Shelton, our queen of the whatevers, has said multiple times now that she honestly believes that he's going to end up tearing down the entire White House, that he's going to remodel the entire thing. And
oh my God.
I could see it. He also announced that the military was part of the construction project. Did you hear that?
No, what?
the military. Yesterday, he said, as he was talking about the ballroom, he said, "Oh, and the military is working with us." And people were like, "The military is working with you on the ballroom construction project? That's
So the bunker
interesting."
underneath. It's all about there's a bunker cut underneath, right?
Well, I
There's
mean,
gotta be. It's probably the Army Corps of Engineers.
okay, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I think there is already an existing bunker, right? Like, there's an emergency shelter
Yes.
underneath the East Wing, and I mean,
But that one
obviously,
can't hold all of the billionaires.
right, right. No, that one is for sure the oopsie, we missed the last helicopter out, and we have to, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Right. So I'm gonna try and wrap all this together because I've been doing a deep dive also on I've done 3 of the 10 directives that Pete sent out. And I've also been reading the NDAA, the defense budget, which has already been signed by both the House and the Senate. And I'm extraordinarily frustrated and angry and disappointed that they clearly did not read this document. Because the things in this, when it comes to the rule of law and how the law is enacted in the military, we have the UCMJ. We have a whole parallel system of laws. So we are expected to follow the American Code of Laws, the US Code of Laws, and the UCMJ. And I am struggling to find another year that has the sheer number of edits and additions and changes to the UCMJ, as in this year's NDAA. So, which there are articles in there that impact how cases are heard for sexual harassment and rape, and it's it's unreal. So all of this together, because what's happening in the Flock case, uh, the judge is Mark Davis, and he's always been firm but fair, totally apolitical, nonpartisan, as a good federal judge should be. And my concern is the amount of pressure. So they have fired 2 of his prosecutors. And they have intervened in the case, in the Flock case, and submitted the federal statement of interest. And now the lower court has struck down one of the core pillars of the case, which is that this is a Fourth Amendment violation. And my concern is that he's going to just rule in the city's favor. They could go to trial. The trial is not set until February 3rd. But given everything that's happening now, the doggedness with which Trump is pursuing these federal cases, particularly in the Virginia Eastern District, I'm not so sure that this judge is going to make this his hill to die on, unfortunately.
Hmm.
So I think it was probably going to be an issue. And I've talked to a couple of city leaders here in Norfolk, because I think it's going to be more of an issue that the judge is going to rule with the city, and it's going to be up to the people to petition the city doggedly, like they have in Denver and Evanston and other cities, and say, no, no, we don't want these cameras. We pay you. We tell you what to do. I don't care what connection you have with Flock. You've got to take them down. We don't want to be monitored as we're driving around our city. It's totally absurd. So I think it's going to have to become a groundswell movement. It's going to have to be a grassroots movement that continues to go to the city. It needs to become an election issue where we ask every single person running for city council, what's your stance on the Flock cameras? Because we don't want them. So unfortunately, I think this issue is going to go back to the people.
Yeah. I'm curious. I wonder if anyone in the chat has a Ring camera and how they feel now knowing that Ring is plugged into the whole Flock Nova system. Like that, if I had one, I would go rip it off my door right now. And
everybody's ripping it off. I see people making jokes. Hey, did you know the Ring cameras have copper wire inside? Go get a couple bucks. Like, they're ripping them apart. They're taking them off and ripping them apart, because the audacity to take somebody's front door camera and use it to surveil their neighbors is just, it's beyond the pale.
Yeah, it's really, Yeah, it's making you complicit in the surveillance state, basically, like
Right.
against your will.
You know what I'm thinking as you're saying all of this, Melissa, is I'm pretty sure Seattle, where I live, has ring camera, these, not the ring cameras, the flock cameras everywhere.
Yes.
A simple playbook for people, well, not even people like me, but for people who don't know anything about it, of a like very simple language. These are the facts, and this is how you start to fight it. Because I'm like, wow, I haven't heard any momentum out here about this, but I don't think anyone really knows. And I'm like, I would love to leverage the work you're doing to start a campaign out here of like, the fuck, I don't want to be monitored everywhere I'm going around the city. Nobody
Right.
wants. I mean, yeah, people are going to excuse anything this idiot and his administration says, but like, I have to think some right wing conservatives are still of the like, this is the land of the free and we don't
Right.
like surveillance mentality. Um, so yeah, I'm giving you another assignment, Melissa, because you don't have enough on your
Right.
plate. But I'm like,
I've
having
seen
a playbook, like download the
Yes.
PDF file. These are the steps to take, the people you should contact, and here's some language to get things started and some social media posts to try to, I'll help you with that if you want, because I think this is
Yes.
huge and I haven't heard about it from anyone else.
And there's a great resource that someone shared with me that someone has already started a website to log the locations. It's a whole map of the United States, and
Oh,
you can zoom in, and so you can see where they are, because that's another part of my issue, is that one of the first documents that was sealed in our flock case was the map of where they are in our city. And if you're not even willing to let us know where they are, how are you even alleging that this is for our best interest if you're not even letting us know where they are? There's
right.
one at and I thought it was the only entrance and exit to my neighborhood. And I was really pissed because I was like, I can't get out of my own neighborhood without being tracked. But my son told me about a little back road that comes out behind some apartments. So I have a route that skips my flock camera now, which is wonderful because I can leave my house and come home without, being tracked. And so those type of resources we do need to make to include with those, how to address your city councilman or whoever's making that call in your city, but also to put that camera out there so people can plug their address in and be like, oh shit, there's 3 right near my
Yeah.
house.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Nick is in the chat saying that Banner and Backbone would be down to host any discovery and shows for this, which I think is a good idea. It aligns, Gen X would be happy to kind of co-sponsor or whatever. And yeah, like it aligns really closely with the Banner and Backbone mission. So
Yeah, this should have like press releases going out. Like
it should. Absolutely.
this is this could be a really big campaign. Have your people contact my people in all of our spare time, Melissa. I'm
Yeah.
being tongue in cheek, and I'm realizing, first of all, my computer now, aside to Lawrence, I can't capture the chat because this is the second day in a row that midway through the chat, I'm just collapsing. I don't know what's going on with my very old MacBook Pro, but it's dying. But I had a couple links I wanted to talk to you about Substackers. And I know we're at the top of the hour, and I can't see them now. But there was one I tagged you in, Melissa, because I think she was an attorney or she was someone who knew a lot about the legal system, talking about the Letitia James case and how
Yes.
the blonde attorney contacted the press through a Signal chat with disappearing text and was yelling at her for like hours over text.
Did not say this is off the record. She didn't say. So this is what happens when you have an inept.
Yes.
This is what we're seeing throughout this entire administration and the entire cartoon cabinet, is what happens when you put people into positions that they are wholly unqualified for. The absolute destruction that they wreak, the mistakes that they make are, that was so unbelievable when all that broke. And I'm super excited that Anna Bauer is here on Substack so we can push people over to her with Lawfare is the publication. And she has shared the entire text thread so you can see where this.
Oh, she has. Oh my gosh, will you share that link with us? Because I haven't seen that part. That's the woman, her name started with an E. I can't believe I can't pull this up. And the other one I wanted to share, because Lawrence touched on it for a hot second as we were ranting about the White House and the East Wing coming down, is I discovered a new to me publication called the Southern Punk Project.
Yeah.
And she posted this really beautiful, it's a 3-minute watch. I can't share the link because it's crashing, but I am looking at it, called "The Shutdown Has Now Carried into American Kitchens." I shared it yesterday and I don't see it on my wall, which is weird. But she's talking about the states that have already kind of told their people, like, there will be no SNAP benefits November 1st, and the urgency around the 42 million Americans who
Because
literally
we don't
will
have money.
right, because we don't have money, who will have no food. And we are, what's today, the 23rd of October? Like, we're a half step away from that happening. So I made a donation to my local food bank yesterday. If you have any means, like, start local or pick a national food bank or food where's my vocabulary today? A place that will help feed Americans.
Yes.
Because our food banks are struggling. My next door neighbor has a little food library, and I'm going to go stock it again today.
Yes. And if you contribute to food banks, one of my clients, when I was consulting with nonprofits, was our local food bank. And something that people don't understand, if you're able to donate money directly to the food bank, that enables them to buy food in bulk from warehouses and break it down at the food bank, and that will feed substantially more people for your dollar than you going and buying a canned good and handing it. And a dollar can be stretched to provide a whole meal when they buy food in bulk.
Sure, that's
So if
several
there's
cans
any
of beans,
way,
right? Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
If there's any way that you can donate money.
Yes. If you're emptying your cabinet because you're like, these canned soups, I'm not going to eat them, don't bring them. You can still bring them. But if you are buying new, just give them the cash because it goes further 100%. But I like that. Her video was really well done. I actually wrote her and was like, would you like to come on our show? I haven't heard back yet. I'm hoping we will, but follow Southern Punk Project. I was so like, I knew it was coming, but she's like talking from her front porch. It was this very human video and a very real catastrophe that is like days away. Like, talk about, we're indignant about the White House, and we should be. We can hold multiple truths in our hearts and heads at the same time. But like, people are about to be starving, and almost half of them are kids.
Right.
Yes. And the ripple effect throughout these communities is going to be profound. I have a friend that works in like corporate ordering for a grocery chain, and she said, "You don't understand when people don't have food stamps, and that's, let's say, 35% of our customer base is SNAP recipients, we're going to order 35% less food." Because during COVID here in Norfolk, what we saw in COVID, when a lot of people unexpectedly lost their jobs, particularly in the service industry, and they didn't have as much money for food, is that our food was molding and rotting on the shelf because there wasn't enough. So grocery stores downsized what they were actually purchasing. So there's going to be less food. And in addition to that, grocery store workers will be laid off if this continues for anything longer than a month. Grocery store workers will start to downsize their staffing. So the ripple effect of this is tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Melissa, we are so grateful to you. You are fucking incredible. And I can't wait to hear and see what you come up with next, because you're seriously doing the work. I was going to say you're doing God's work, but then it felt too religious and shit. But
you're doing the work that the legacy media should be doing.
Right. You're doing democracy's work, you give me hope. Literally every day I read your stuff, and you give me hope that maybe we're going to make it through, because you and Ellie and other people are doing the real, actual hard fucking work. And we're really grateful.
100%.
Thank you.
And my first thought, as I've been watching watching you work, that I'm like, Melissa's going to make it. She's going to be like up there in a major publication or news. And then I was like, I don't know that that's making it anymore, because they wouldn't be able to use your full talents. They would squelch you. So I'm like, You are where you need to be. Go support what Melissa's doing. Thank you as always for being here. And I can't wait to hear more from you after Monday with the Teacher James case.
Yes.
We may need to have you pop in. I think we have a couple of openings next week for if you're willing to spare 10 minutes or so to come in and tell us about it. Like, you're the person I want to hear about it from.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, art being posted that dflock.me is the website to check how many flock cameras are around you.
Okay.
So thanks
We'll
for
put
that.
it in the
RC.
recap. Let's put it in the recap for this story. Love it.
This was amazing, Melissa. Thanks again. And
Thank you.
And a quick shout out, tomorrow is Fucked Up Friday, although I feel like we've been so steeped in this news all week.
Oh,
But
I have an absolutely winning Fucked Up Friday story, by the way.
Oh my God. Well, don't tell Zuri Stevens. We have Zuri Stevens coming to join us tomorrow. I've been wanting to meet her and have her on the show for ages. I think we booked this day, like she had to push out once. So it's been like a month or two in coming, getting her on the show. So excited to talk to her. I love her work. And she was intentionally like, only a Friday. I want to come in for Fucked Up Friday. So I think she's going to come in ready to.
That's awesome.
Bring it with her story. So please join us tomorrow. Thank you all for staying a little bit over and breathe. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like this right now.
I know. Yeah,
let me give one quick plug. If you have time, tomorrow at 12:30 is our virtual anti-fascist book club with Banner and Backbone.
Yes.
So if you're looking for yet another way to sort of soothe your nerves, we read through historic documents. We look at how this has happened in history. We help educate you and empower you. So make sure tomorrow, Banner and Backbone, 12:30.
That's Eastern time, 12:30 Eastern?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Love it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Love you, mean it. Bye.
Love you, mean it. Bye.